I'm going to talk about... So, Friday is the Friday game. So, we've been doing Guns of Icarus Alliance, which is sort of like DLC for Guns of Icarus Online, but not quite the same thing, but a PvE campaign. It's been very good as far as it goes, which is the big problem, is the big caveat. There's like 4 or 5 different game types on 4 or 5 different sorts of map, and various different ships and guns and stuff, in which we dabble with and experiment with, and we're quite... like the basic gameplay of Guns of Icarus, running around on the deck of a ship, repairing things, manning guns and steering it through unfriendly skies and stuff. It's just very repetitive. That's the problem. It's, I was expecting, when Alliance came along, I was expecting it to be this big MMO style, at least a Ubisoft style roam box, if not an actual MMO. But it's just a lobby based thing that takes a lot of the existing technology from their PvP deathmatch arena thing and populates it with AI-controlled fodder, which we're getting quite good at. We haven't really cranked up to... there's 4 difficulty levels. We could just keep cranking that up until we can't cope anymore, but... the basic novelty of the experience has long worn off. And we pass the roles around. Everyone has a crack at driving and gunning and repairing and engineering and stuff with variable success. I'm not going to name any names. But, I typically do the driving. And, we're getting the hang of it. We're doing all right. And we're working up this internal faction rank system. There's like progression and stuff that unlocks new things, new ships and stuff. But I think we unlocked one of the enemy ships designs. That's interesting. You pick a faction to work for. You can change a faction at a cost of about 20% of your faction points, just to stop people jumping around forever. But it means you're not locked in forever. And you unlock your own faction's ships first, obviously, but then it lets you unlock enemy ships further up your own rank. So that means you get to experience everything without having to jump ship and start each new faction each time. I didn't really like the Green Team's ship, the Chaldean one. Yeah, I didn't like that. It's very, very closed, can't see out properly. Guns are all placed in wrong places. No, we unlocked the Ford Barony's Crusader ship, and we used that a lot. But yes, I mean, to be frank, I was just starting to get a bit bored of it all. Yeah. Which, I feel bad because, I feel like I'm letting everyone else down. But we ended up doing the usual discussion on Slack. You can find out how to find the Slack thing in the Steam group, and you can find out the Steam group with Google, probably. Anyway.
Go to howtometatime.com. There's a thing at the top for everything.
There's a thing. Excellent. You're so organised. Yeah. But yes.
Say hi to the Russian spammers for me.
Are they still a problem?
Yeah.
So we did the usual what game should we play next type conversation. There's lots of great suggestions in there, lots of things that we should take into consideration, give it a go, but it seemed like everyone was tentatively suggesting one thing but saying, but I don't mind. So in the end I just decided, rather than dig out the spreadsheet of Doom, which was a real complicated and bad idea.
That was a brilliant advice. That was a fantastic idea.
But I tried to add some kind of Eurovision voting system, and then it all got very complicated.
No, you added the Eurovision voting system.
No, we're not getting the spreadsheet out again. I'd made a unilateral decision in the end because it seemed quickest. So we're doing Tabletop Simulator again on Fridays now, which I've talked about lots before, probably will talk about lots again, which essentially is a 3D virtual space in which you can put a board and some counters and pieces and dice and cards and physically, well, not physically because it's imaginary, but you can move them around as if you were playing an actual tabletop game. It doesn't do much in the way of enforcing rules or turns. It's not actually a game itself, but if you get it through Steam, the Steam Workshop's got thousands of actual board games that people have converted for use with this thing and put up. So we've been playing. We did Lords of Waterdeep. Good Friday. Yeah. Well, we figured we ought to try something everyone knows, or most people knew how to play. I think it was new to a couple of people, so we were just teaching them how to play as well.
Still a fantastic game.
It's a very, very well designed game. I mean, you can take or leave Dungeons and Dragons and Forgotten Realms and the City of Waterdeep that it's all based on. In terms of mechanics and numbers and gameplay, very tightly designed, very, very well. Very well designed. It works fantastically. It's a very enjoyable game. Worker placement. Yes. People who understand these things know what that term means. We played that. I didn't win. Can't remember who won. I think Dath won. I can't remember. But yes, it was very good. Did the job. I had a bottle of wine on the go as well. It was a pleasant evening.
Is that why you didn't win?
Possibly, yes. I completely forgot what lord I had, and I was just completing quests randomly, I think. Not focused enough. That's the big problem.
How does that differ from any other time you play it when you're not drinking wine?
Good point. Well, that's useful to know that wine does not degrade my tactical ability in the slightest. So that's useful to know. But yes, no, very enjoyable though. We had a good time with that. So I think there's lots of now. The thing is, picking Tabletop Simulator doesn't really solve the decision-making problem, because now we have a platform which supports thousands of possible choices of what to play. Only they're all board games.
You just made it a lot harder.
Yes. So, but there was a lot of talk. I threatened Twilight Imperium. Because everyone was taking quite a long time to decide stuff, so I suggested Twilight Imperium, which made a lot of people cower and hide and run and stuff. You've got it, haven't you?
Yeah.
We did try it one board game evening, and it took
We didn't finish clipping off all the bits.
Yeah, we spent about an hour and a half pressing pieces out of sprues and stuff, and then I think you lost the room a bit at that point, and we never played it.
Interestingly, that box sits in my bedroom where I see it every morning when I wake up.
It's a sort of grim reminder. Yeah, but I'm convinced it can be played to finish. I think somebody can play and win that, so we're going to try it, I think. The thing with Tabletop Simulator is it allows you to load and save game states, unlike, say, a board on a table around someone's house. Unless they can leave the dining room table uninterfered with for weeks and weeks at a time, you don't really get to say that. Well, I suppose you could take a photo of the game and put all the pieces back. It's a lot of fiddle. Whereas in a virtual space where you can save and load the entire state of your virtual universe in and out as needed, that strikes me as ideal for a kind of campaign play. In a way, a game of Twilight Imperium is essentially like playing Risk Legacy, all in one go. So I don't know. We might work up to that, because we're all going to have to learn how to play. It is going to take a lot of weeks, I think. And I like the idea of playing some multiple session thing, a bit like a mini MMO, though. That sort of thing. Why do these things have to take place and be completed all in one session? But we might work on Eclipse to start with.
I like Eclipse.
Eclipse apparently it's a similar
kind of thing.
Apparently
you played it?
We played this 2-player game. I don't know what a whole massive thing's like, but I'm guessing, but according to various people I've seen online, they're saying Eclipse is shorter and easier than Twilight Imperium. So we'll see.
The Second World War was shorter and easier than Twilight Imperium.
Most things are, yes. But it's a similar kind of premise. I mean, both of these games are essentially a 4X strategy game like Stellaris or Master of Orion or whatever, but as board game form.
I know, that's what I love about it.
I know, just the very idea is quite preposterous right there. But
you want to do what?
Little hexagon tiles to represent star systems and stuff, and lots of little plastic spaceships and civilization boards with counters on and stuff like that. I like the idea of it, and that's the sort of thing you could probably develop up into a massive epic saga as someone writes down what happened during the game as these vast stellar empires clash on cardboard hexagons. So we'll try. I think we'll try Eclipse. Probably not next week, but some weeks soon we'll try Eclipse, and then if that works and people aren't gone into incommunicado or are still speaking to me, then we might try Twilight Imperium. So Tabletop Simulator supports us up to 10 players, any of whom can be spectators as well. So people like some folks were just listening in and watching as we were playing. That was quite good.
It also supports VR and using the controllers to pick up bits and move them.
Yeah, I don't know. Does the Oculus work on that? It's just.
I believe it probably does now.
It just the Vive?
The Vive definitely does, but Oculus has those controllers
we've
now.
Seen
so I'm
the Vive
assuming
working.
It does.
Okay.
And I have some.
Ah, yeah.
You
give it a go.
Yeah.
Fire it up and see if it works with Tabletop Simulator.
Yeah, what I want to do is I want to play 40k in it. Using the picking up the bits. It's supported.
Well, Tabletop Simulator is literally just a physical space in which you can put models and boards and stuff. And there are Steam Workshop items for Tabletop Simulator, which are literally Warhammer 40k armies. And I am just amazed those haven't been taken down. A lot of the games in there are straightforward pirate rips of existing board games.
Some of them are endorsed.
Some of them have the blessing of the
actual game
creator.
I think Malifaux is endorsed, or is it?
I'm pretty sure Games Workshop are not renowned for their laissez-faire attitude on copyright infringement, though.
Oh, that's old Games Workshop.
Well, maybe New Games Workshop are fine. I don't wonder who it hurts. I mean, there's no actual replacement for a board game, and you might want to go out and buy the board game as a result.
Well, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to talk about Dawn of War 3, so we'll see who it hurts.
Fair enough. But I recommend, just aside from our Friday gaming, and by the way, if you're interested in want to join in, do get in touch. But the sheer genius of what Tabletop Simulator itself is. I mean, I have not really looked into making things myself for it, but it's got quite an involved and intricate scripting language for it. I mean, I can't remember what we played. It might have been Carcassonne. We had to go at Carcassonne, and it was a Carcassonne module that someone had done quite a lot of scripting work to do automatic scorekeeping.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I had no idea how they did it. Some kind of sorcery, probably. But
that is a tough game to score.
Yeah, exactly. It was counting out tiles and in and out and all that sort of thing. I mean, it broke quite easily, which means, that's the one. I don't like the scripting, because if you do anything unexpected that they haven't thought of, it can totally break the scripting. And then suddenly you find, because you were relying on the game to keep your score, we've got no idea ourselves as to what was going on. So it tends to be really disruptive if it goes wrong. So I tend to prefer just literally cardboard pieces and models and a board, whatever, tokens in little bags. Just the simplicity of it is so impressively elegant in its simplicity. Just the basic platform, and it's about £15 on Steam at the moment. So do have a look for that if you.
It might even be on sale.
It doesn't do anything in and of itself. It's not a single player game, although you can get solitaire, the little marble jumpy puzzle thing for it, which is fine. But you'll need friends to play games with, obviously, but in terms of remote friends, people who only through the internet, it's a great way to have a gaming night, board gaming night with them. So I can't recommend it highly enough. Very good. So I think we'll be doing that again for quite a while. I think some other suggestions, I think we would umming and ahhing at possible return to Eve, maybe as alpha clones. I like the idea of it. Is it Eve? The reason, I hate on Eve quite a lot because of lots of scary things I've seen on rumours and websites and blogs about big faceless corporations of players and goons and what have you. My own experience of Eve is I just burnt out of it, really, because it grew a bit beyond my own ability to commit to it. In other words, my character had gained so many skill points just through sheer dint of playing for a very long time. I think I was up to about 30 million skill points, which I know is nothing these days, but I'd got to that point where the clone costs made it cost inefficient for me to play the game anymore. I wasn't actually earning enough money with my playtime to cover the costs of what if I get blown up. If I lost a ship or had my clone blown up, I probably wouldn't, I'd start to take actual skill. It got just too much hassle, so I stopped in the end. But I'm wondering if an alpha clone might be the way to do that.
I don't know. You
have a skill cap on alpha clones, I believe.
Yeah, and you don't get any level 5 skills.
Yeah.
And all that means.
Yeah, but that essentially makes it ideal for a disposable frigate alt. Does that mean, is that a useful thing? Is that even a thing? Or are you wasting your time if you can't fly a capital ship in that game these days?
No,
I don't know.
Frigates are probably still incredibly
Probably have a
useful,
bit of knockabout frigate fun in Agent 2 and 3 missions. Maybe do a bit of PvP. And no risk, no stress PvP, oh no, I lost a rifter, however am I going to repay that? That kind of level, rather than, oh my god, a capital ship that's worth $1,600 real dollars, I've just blown it up,
I've got so many stacks of rifters in stations across the galaxy from when I needed to do a bit of fighting.
Throw away alts in disposable ships. Can that be a thing? Is that fun? I don't know. I have to talk to Akeley about that at the upcoming AkeleyCon. See if there's a role for that. Whether there's an interest. I don't know. Also, we were umming and ahhing possibly maybe Pathfinder again. I might be able to find. Well, not necessarily me GMing, but possibly we could use the Roll20.net website.
Yep, that's very popular.
It's very. Well, the thing is, you can do Pathfinder on Tabletop Simulator. It has player mats and DM screens and little figurines and stuff. So you would literally have a 3D virtual space sat around a table, but you can't see anyone's faces at all. So that aspect of being around a table.
You should see what some people are doing on Twitch with role-playing games.
Yeah, I think Google Hangouts or whatever they call it these days with the actual video chat and stuff. Hangouts. I don't know. I always found Roll20 to be perfect for what we needed.
There's a couple of people that I follow who play Roll20 on Twitch in a very, very successful way.
I could see doing it in Tabletop Simulator with 3D models and stuff would just be over the top and unnecessary, more extra faff that I wouldn't need. But yeah, possibly some pen and paper pointy dice work again in the future. I think there's quite a few other games suggested in the big thread as well. I think we were talking about Overwatch.
Really?
Yeah, it's a bit modern. Steady, I don't know. Oh, steady now. Yeah,
you're going to hate Overwatch.
I don't know. Yeah. We were talking about sort of forming a little team and having a go there, but I don't know. I don't know how we fare against organised ruffle stomps from online opponents. I don't know if that's quite my bag, but if that's what everyone else wants to do, we'll give it a go, certainly. I don't know. There's lots of ideas going around.
Maybe that could be the game to get you over your fear of PvP.
It is a time of changes. We're looking at all sorts of where next for the static groups, what to play and that sort of thing. So now's a good time to jump in on the discussion if you know where the Slack group is.